It's not 5 o'clock, and they don't care. Welcome to W25. Entertainment, education, and everyday drinking for everyday people. Your hosts are Valerie Caruso and Stephanie Davis, two wine educators who don't need a clock to know when to pour that next glass.
Welcome back to Wine to Five, and we know that by now some of you guys have heard that this is going to be our season and series finale. Wine to Five has been a weekly labor of love, friendship, and a virtual hug for the wine community that's going to live on forever. Forever. So while things we've had champagne already. So while things have come up in our personal professional lives, seriously, as happens with all of us, there are some great things on the horizon as well.
And before we get into our little audio parting gifts, which we are so excited to share, we should talk about our bubbles and do some reminiscing, I think. Don't you think?
All right, you guys asked for it. I think that's a good idea. And of course, we're going to talk about what's in our glasses. We already kind of gave it away. And did you just bottom up?
Yeah. No,
oh my gosh,
I have half a glass left.
I was like, we haven't been pre-gaming that long, but we both have some champers, damn it, or some champagne. And Steph, you want to talk about yours first, or you want me to go first?
Sure. No, I can go. So this is the 2009 Moet and Chandon Dom Perignon Brut from Épernay-Champagne, France. And a Christmas gift, actually, from my father. And I'm super excited to tell him why I decided to open it, because obviously what a momentous occasion. 4 seasons, virtually 4 years, as you will find out about with our audio clips. We've been doing this either pre-podcasting or podcasting for 4 years, 200 plus episodes with some bonus content, merrymaking, educating, and connecting with thousands of wine lovers worldwide, and even in our own little Colorado towns, we still meet some new listeners. So I think it's just a perfect time to open a very special bottle.
I love that. And I think we talked about it being Moet on the show, not Moet. Because there was a time like Moet. No, it's Moet.
Yeah.
And I have a Brut also, but it's actually a Brut Rosé. This is the Canard du Chêne Cuvée Léonie Brut Rosé from Rheims in Champagne in France. I was feeling some pink. And what was interesting is some of the notes for some of the champagnes on their website. They say this is the only house to declare freedom as a state of mind.
Oh, I like that.
Free your mind and the rest will follow. You know what I'm saying? So that to me, that means living out of the box, which we love to do because it's not 5 o'clock and we don't care. So I think it kind of speaks to that spirit. And I thought it was the only bottle of this I had. And look at the color on that. I mean, it's like this beautiful salmon color.
And pink is your favorite color.
You know, it is. And I don't know if we ever mentioned this, but like when we went ring shopping, my husband and I didn't want a diamond. I wanted pink. Mm-hmm. I wanted a pink stone. So we actually had a ring made with a pink stone in it because I can't do what everybody else does. Living out of the box.
And you do have a pink tiara on, too.
I have a pink tiara on as well. So it goes with that pink unicorn over your shoulder. Steph's got a bunch of balloons behind her. It is so cute. And I am a big unicorn fanatic, so I love it.
Yes.
So I think this is a great celebratory occasion because, like I said, these episodes are going to live on forever. They're always going to be there. Steph and I are going to be there. And so we want to talk about all the fun that we've had. We're going to do some reminiscences here. So should we direct them to the champagne discussion first?
Well, I was just going to say, I think because way back in episode 84, we did have a nice champagne kind of educational piece. And a lot of it is in the blog. So there is some of it in the audio, but great material in the blog. And that was with our 2-time guest, Michelle Miller. So a fun episode if you haven't heard it, but also a good resource for more champagne information if you're like, I love champagne and I didn't hear that episode. So check that out. But we are going to go over now some of our top episodes of all time. And this was not easy for us, but so what we're going to do to make it easier is to talk about the top 5 most downloaded episodes first.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is we do have a lot of people who are new to the show who say, oh, why don't you do an episode on this or that? And it's like, well, we did, back in the day. But the ones that you guys are downloading the most, for whatever reason, and some of them, honestly, we don't know why. But the number 5, actually the number 1, I should go from bottom to top or top to bottom. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Let's start with number 5. I think you've got it. Let's do it that way.
Yeah, so let's go to number 5. And honestly, this is the one that Steph and I recorded the first night we recorded actual episodes to be aired. And this was the hows and whys of wine tasting. And for some reason, we had dinner, we had some Burgundy, we were drinking rum, we were drinking who knows what else, but we were drinking. And this is not our favorite episode.
Right.
Like,
and yet
it's
one of our top 5 most downloaded. I think a lot of it has to do with what the topic is, because people are like, yeah, I'd like to know how to wine taste. So, yeah. And the material is good. It's just that all of that audio the audio quality of our very first episodes, you can just see the difference, because we were learning. So, and that's, I don't know, it's kind of cool, the evolution. But the number 4, let's move on. The number 4 is one of our both favorites, Under the Influence of Joe Fattorini from Wine Show TV. That was actually episode number 113. We had hit the triple digits.
Oh, yeah. You guys really love that one. I think we love that one so much. And he was such a great guest. And even today, Steph, I guess Jancis Robinson was on the last season of Wine Show TV. And even she had a blast with him and the Mats. And, and it's just, he's just such a character, whether it's in social media or in person, where I got to meet him in London. He is just such a vivid personality. And it totally came through in that podcast.
Yes, totally. And then our number 3 of all time is...
Does wine taste better on vacation? And this was episode number 1.
Our very first episode. So, and I think we were so proud of what that first topic was because we both felt so strongly about it. So we launched the podcast on Does Wine Taste Better on Vacation? I think that's so neat. And so that was, back in April of 2015 and our 3rd most downloaded podcast. Okay, moving on now.
And be glad that was our first one, because you'll see later. Woo! All right, some stuff that never made it to air.
That's right.
So the second most downloaded is Passion and Pinot, the vertical book review. And I'm really surprised by this one, too. I didn't know you guys were such book nerds, but we love it. And this was recorded in May of 2017, episode number 110. And this is where we reviewed the actual sequel to Sideways.
Right.
So the book was actually called Vertical. Instead of Sideways, it was Vertical. And we both loved the book. And I think it was sent to us, Steph, when things are going on in our lives. It was really poignant.
Mm-hmm.
And really meaningful, especially for me. I was going through my father's death at the time, and the book just meant so much. And I actually loved it because, remember, in Sideways, the movies, I hated Miles. I hated that character.
Me too.
I wanted to throat punch him. I'm like, God, he's such a wuss. I just can't stand him. Yeah. And then I love this book.
I know. I thought that was what was so great about reviewing a book like that and then sharing our review with everyone, because we had no idea how much we were going to like it. And then it's obviously shows that people really have appreciated downloading that. So I don't know if they're, telling their friends, hey, check out this podcast episode. But if you haven't read the book and haven't listened to that episode, I think you should give it a go. And now on to our number 1 most downloaded episode. This is hilarious, everybody. It is episode number 149, Greek Wine, Olympics, and Soju.
And again, it sounds like we don't know what the hell we're doing here. So it's like, what do you even do in podcasts? You don't even know why your episodes are good. We don't. Yeah. We don't know why you guys love this episode. We don't know if it had something to do with the social media because it was during the Olympics and we used a hashtag.
Yeah.
But it went nuts like the first week. And we're like, it was okay. I mean, it was fun. I mean, for us, it's fun. I don't know if it's fun for you, but maybe it is. But we were like pairing like the wine regions with Olympic sports. I think.
Yeah.
I think
Oh, yeah. You
paired
had
something
your
with
creativity kind of went through the roof on that episode. I thought it was brilliant. I loved that episode, but I think it's kind of fascinating how social media and major events in the world and all of this stuff can sometimes have this sweet spot where it just blows up. So that's what we think happened, but we also can still say it was a good episode. If you haven't listened to it, check it out.
And apologies to Kamal Kawiri if we totally sullied the Greek wine name in that episode, because he kind of set us straight last month on
That's
Greek
right.
wine.
I liked that episode a lot. But when I tried to put together my top 5, it was not easy, and then to think of ranking them number 1 through number 5, that was not going to happen. I could maybe just narrow it down to 5. And I have to say, I love Joe Fattorini's episode so much that it is in my top 5. But the other 4 episodes, if I were to have to pick, like if there was a gun to my head or something, having my brother Clay on the podcast really makes me tear up. That was episode 178. And oh my gosh, got even
Thanks,
good.
Clay.
Thanks
Damn
a lot, Clay. Anyhow, I also really love Joseph Peruli's Go Vino episode, back episode 76.
Yes.
I was so inspired by these entrepreneurs, and I love that we still use and adore our Go Vino glasses. And for anybody who has our W25 Go Vino glasses, all of that kind of came together because we had Joseph Peruli on the show. And then I also loved Laura Catena, which was last week's show. Gosh, that meant so much to me. And she's such a great, inspiring mentor, I think, for all of us. She just has so much going on, and she does it with grace, and she's well-spoken and just a warm person, even over Skype, So... Yeah. And then one other lady I really want to give a shout out to is Leanne Lane. And, Val had suggested we have her on the show because she's a fan of her artwork. Mm-hmm. And to this day, this was episode 59. I still think of it as one of my favorite episodes.
I love that episode so much because, again, when people are real with us, because in case you haven't noticed, Steph and I, we're pretty real. And she was pretty real. And Steph, I think that year you gifted me with one of her paintings. And I was literally on Christmas Eve, it showed up crying. And John had no idea what to do with that. I'm like, and this is you. And this is me. And then we're coming together in the white glass. And it was so, I'm like, and I love it so much. And it's got a special place. And I love her. I've loved her art for years without knowing who she was.
Yeah.
But then it was almost like, she's like in her circle of just positive vibes right now. And I mean, she's so positive, she's so inspiring, and I think that has been the best, is the guests. I think, I mean, we have a great time together, right?
Yes. Oh gosh, which is why it's so hard. It's like, well, is there top 5 of our 5 favorite guests, or top 5 of like our times together, or top 5? It's like, I can't do this. Don't make me pick 5.
Don't make me.
Oh, but because I was just going back through and listening to the little series that we did. There was 3 episodes in a row.
Oh, yeah.
July of 2015. It was getting out of your wine rut and drinking outside the box. And we did like one episode where we did blind box wine tasting. So hilarious. That was maybe one of the first times you were really like putting in a bunch of little clips here and there. And it was so funny. And I thought it really depicted a lot of like the energy we have together, the silliness, and then, also using, some of our skills, obviously, to educate. But I thought that was neat. And it was before the blog got started, so before the website. So it was really way back. And if you're searching for that series, it won't be on the website, but you'll find it in the podcast feed.
Yeah, you'll find it in the podcast feed on the Android and the Apple iTunes or whatever. I think you said it was, was it episode like 12, 13, 14 or something like that? It was summer, July. And a lot of the bloopers the first year were based on that episode, which was hilarious. And so you had a little bit of our husbands your husband, I think, was in there a little bit.
Yeah.
And they actually assisted with that crime. So it was a blast. And it did provide motivation, I think, for that very first bloopers episode.
Yeah.
But
well, let's skip over some of what I've got here and have you talk a little bit about your top 5.
Well, I think, like I said, it's really hard to pick your favorite puppy of the litter.
Yeah.
So it's hard to pick a favorite pet, even though we all do it. I default to the moments. I think I default to the way I giggle or the way my face hurts when I smile if I listen to one, and which isn't very often because I don't like hearing my own voice, despite what it sounds like right now on the show. You guys are thinking, oh, she loves to hear herself talk. No, I don't.
Right.
But the way I was feeling when I was recording or when I was editing. But Joe Fatorini is definitely up there because the energy he brought to the show, we were smiling, laughing, and exhausted at the end of it. I mean,
totally
wore us out, And the James Kluwer episode I didn't do with you. I actually was in California sitting across from him interviewing him, but he's a special influence on me. And I thought his interview was super real, especially that part where he's like, we only go to high-end hotels because I can't deal with people bitching about the hotels. And I just love his realness and having been on a wine tour with him. The way you relate to somebody really does influence the energy on the show. And I thought that was just one of my favorite encounters. And then, of course, Ms. Jane.
Man.
The skirt.
Her embarrassing, if we had to pick our top 5 embarrassing wine stories, that would be a different list. And she would definitely probably be like number 1, I think.
Yeah, the skirt. I mean, she can spin a yarn. I heard her on The Theory of Wine the other day. And even then, she's cracking me up. And just when you think you've heard all Jane's stories, you've not.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
No, you've not. And then, of course, Jameson Fink.
Oh, that's why I have a flute today in his honor. I purposely thought of him while I was pouring this Dom. So
I always think about that too when people go out and advocate for flutes. I think of Jameson Fink. He is the flute advocate, and we loved having him on the show. That was fun. Evan Goldstein.
Gosh.
I mean, it's hard to pick.
Yeah.
And then our friends, the Jeffs.
I know. And creating, I have to plug, when I created that smoked whale testicle cocktail, it brings me so much joy to include other podcasters and specifically our podcasting brothers. But, we did some podcasting with other podcasters, even when we did with Paul Bonaquisti. That was such a monumental experience for us both. We have awesome pictures. We were just totally high on our energy and excitement. And when we were at Podfest with Amanda, that was what we were breakfast beer. That was breakfast a trip beer. At the pool. I mean, poolside breakfast beer with spending time with other podcasters really gets you in the flow of being a podcaster. And even when we did those shows for the One Bourbon, One Shard, One Beer guys, that was a blast. So, none of that would have happened without this show.
No, meeting these, not just meeting our icons in the wine world, like Karen McNeil. Remember how we fangirled?
Yeah.
And then the audio is total crap. The audio went to hell. I actually paid somebody to try to sweeten it and couldn't save it, but it was still so special because we've been reading the Wine Bible for, the second edition now for the years it's been out. We've met, Eric Asimov. We met all these people through this art. And when we met all these, again, podcasting legends as well that we didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
I loved meeting Elsie. I love meeting Dave Jackson. I love meeting Jazz. I love meeting all these people who create things in their world too. So there's the wine world on all of you that we've met, and then there's the podcasting world. And I didn't realize that would be the best part. I thought we were just going to click record and start chattering and go hee 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 hee. But I feel like we created and became part of something so much bigger than us. And we made conversation happen with friends we did not even know we were going to have. And we're glad you're still there. And we're still here, damn it.
That's
I have to say, but Steph, can I just say that the bloopers?
Oh my gosh, the bloopers, I have facial pain from smiling so much after you create these bloopers. Or I don't even know if I your rapping and your haiku poems the same as the bloopers. I mean, I don't know. It's like that would be a whole nother top 5 list.
Oh my gosh. And even moments that we didn't even get on tape. Like one of my favorite things is every time I see Steph with her red hair, she was sitting on a stool at our house. But I remember kind of glancing over her way, and all I saw was this flash of red hair, but she was gone because she'd fallen off the stool.
Oh my God,
and
it was classic.
And John was like, "Are you okay?" I mean, just little things like that.
Oh, I know.
These moments that we can barely like bring in, but I think it reflects in the energy of the show.
Oh, and
the silliness.
we've asked all these guests on our show to talk about their embarrassing wine moments. And I have had so many embarrassing things happen just in the podcast alone. Just being with you or being like podcasting. I mean, I was so stressed out about the time where I couldn't figure out or how to read paper mache. And I got so stressed out. I think I wanted to say like maque, and I was trying to make it a different language, and I was all like just flustered. And then I re-recorded the whole thing. And now looking back on it, it's so funny. It's one of these embarrassing stories. But in the moment, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I said it wrong. I couldn't read it right. And what was wrong with me? And it's just funny. It's so funny now, like falling off a stool, not being able to read something right, all of this stuff. It's just years of entertainment.
And do you remember early on, I don't know if we ever talked about this on the show. I don't even know what episode it is, but it's probably in the first like dozen or so. My audio just disappeared. I don't know what happened, but I went to edit and all I had was your side of the conversation.
Do we have to do it all over again? Or you did it yourself without me?
You were on a trip. Oh. So there's an episode out there where I went, oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, me too. Oh, and don't forget this part. And it was just a little chunk of audio. It wasn't like the whole episode,
right.
But there was a good like 15 or so seconds that just disappeared. And I don't know how long I sat here and tried to fill that back in.
Which is really hard to do because the whole energy and frequency of our voices and like everything, when we try and fix something and edit it and plug it back in, it really...
you can tell.
Yeah. And we've talked about it before, like, should we just re-record the entire thing over again? Because you can tell when somebody's just like slipping in some audio, but... Man, we have learned a lot, and we've had a lot of technical difficulties and our own bloopers that really need to be fixed. So it's been what a trip.
So speaking of which, guys, speaking of things that you've not heard, at the end of the show, instead of our normal sexy man voice, and by the way, his name is Mark, and he's in North Carolina, and he's a real voiceover artist, we're going to leave Mark today, and we're going to leave you with some annals from a hotel room. And what that is, before we even understood the technicalities of podcasting, I took an old Zoom H2 recorder that John gave me out to Grand Junction. So I'm going to set the scene here.
And that was January, right? Was it January 2015?
January 2015. So I had already done some snowball tests here in the room, apparently. I already had the snowball because I found my initial snowball test, and it sounds so dorky. But I took this recorder out so we could both talk into it. And we were there for an expo, and you had brought 6 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
Why? Because Val had already failed the CWE varietal ID exam twice. And I was getting ready to take it again later that month and fail it again. And I wanted to practice. So you were really good about picking samples that would be good for trying and whatever. So you brought 6 bottles and stemware so we could practice. Well, we set to drinking those bottles.
I know.
And then we hit record. So this is going to be at the end. We want you guys to stay to the end. I hope you'll be glad you did, because you will hear our first attempt at a podcast. And I have to tell you, I sifted through 2 hours of audio, Steph.
Wow.
And it was part drunken therapy session on drinking alone. It was part bitch session on alcohol not available in grocery stores or being able to take a bottle into a restaurant in Colorado. And it was part like slurred ramblings before bedtime. It was like,
tired
are we
and
even
drunk,
awake?
slurring.
Tired, drunk, and it was just not good. So we got that 2 hours for you at the end of the show. No, I'm kidding. There's only about 5 minutes, but it was it was something to sort through that. But what you'll hear is kind of the DNA of how things got started and how Wine to Five kind of progressed from there. So that was kind of fun. So,
and thank you for that, Val. I mean, going through all of that, and when I listened to what you put together, wow, what a flashback. And, my heart was smiling and so fun. So I hope everybody enjoys that. Really, really that is the ultimate bloopers right there for everybody to listen to. But so that's going backwards, but going forwards, we really wanted to explain a little bit about this farewell episode. We just really needed a sabbatical, and Val and I have not really given ourselves a break for the last 4 years, and we do have other things going on, some other things in the hopper, and plenty of reasons for everybody to stay in touch with us. So we're kind of going to use this little segment to talk about that.
Yes, because remember, the content is going to be here anytime, anywhere you want to listen. That's a whole idea behind the podcast. It's just like a season of Friends or what have you, except with more booze. So please continue to use the content. Please continue to reach out for us. We still have some things that, you might hear more from in the future. So don't unsubscribe. You never know.
That's right. That's right.
Never know.
And for me personally, if we're just going to kind of go on a little bit of a trip here on what is on our horizons personally, I'm doing a little freelance wine and spirits writing for some local publications, which is kind of fun. I'm getting my feet wet with that. And my Justin needs my help as my super wife services with his financial advising practice. So I'm going to jump in and get my feet wet and help him out. So I'm excited about that new kind of development. And then also excited about some travel I have coming up. 2019, I didn't think we would have so much planned, but in April, I'm going to San Diego. In May, I'm going to Montreal for the first time. Super excited about that. And Maui for the first time in July. So I want to invite you all that are listening. If you're anywhere in those cities, hit me up and, drop me a line. And you never know, maybe we can have a glass of wine or something.
That would be so cool. And I'm so proud of you. You getting your freelance writing on. I cannot wait to see your first piece.
Thank you.
So very excited about that.
Yeah. And what about you? What is going on with Miss Val?
Oh my gosh, I need a nap.
I know, we are right.
So sleep deprived. Oh, but no, I'm going to take some much needed downtime. And so we're going to start with a road trip. We're going to Santa Fe. I've got some East Coast visits on the calendar. I am looking for a little retreat to the Caribbean, hopefully next month, but don't call me because I'm putting my phone in a locker. Don't bother. But on the side, I do produce some other podcasts on the side. So you may have heard me interviewing some wine folks around the wine world over at the Wine Scholar Guild website. I'll just let you know I do produce their podcasts. And so I'm working on a couple right now for the future. And don't tell anyone, but I do have another little podcast project in the works for later this year as well. So I'm sure I will see many of you later this year at the Society Wine Educators Conference in DC. And I'm kicking around the Wine Media Conference in Australia this fall.
Hunter Valley. That should be amazing if you can make
Hunter
it.
Valley. Yeah, and I'm doing the next webinar for the Society Wine Educators as well. So we're going to be doing that in May. Got some client events in April and May. And some of you guys in the chat room in the last webinar were kind of encouraging me to pull the trigger on Hunter Valley. And I have to say, I'm seriously considering it. And so checking out that right now. But this is going to be, Steph, funny you got a 2009 champagne there because this is the 10th anniversary of my retirement this May.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
and I've
big.
not looked back.
Yeah.
I have not looked back. And then, so it's kind of it's kind of time to kind of regroup a little. Been out of the uniform for 10 years. I might try to put it on again just to see if it fits. No, I'm not.
I was like, wow.
But, yes. So it's going to be a good year. And, like I said, I kind of want to get on to some of the messages from our listeners because all these people
I know
that we would not have met had we not clicked record and started jabbering away 4 years ago.
It's amazing. Oh, well, why don't you kick it off with the first one?
Meg. Meg, I know I'm going to see you soon, but Meg says, I will so miss Wine to Five. Please keep me in the loop on any new endeavors. As you know, I enjoy the status of being your very first Patreon supporter. And we love that. And we plan to see more of Meg. She's everywhere. She's vivacious and lovely. So thank you so much.
Definitely. And from Mary Lou, she wrote to us and said, well, you can both pat yourselves on the back. You have accomplished quite a lot in 200 plus episodes. All of us listeners now and in the future are better for your work, passion, and dedication. I've laughed.
Sorry. Going down smooth.
Are you
Sorry.
all right over there? Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, choking on champagne.
Okay.
Sorry.
Choking on champagne. Could be worse. So Mary Lou says, I've laughed and cried due to laughter along with you. I've rushed out and bought bottles I've never even dreamt of tasting thanks to you. Patron Cafe was the latest. OMG is right. Thank you. You are both inspirational. And Mary Lou, so are you. You're inspirational to us. I mean, you have done some pretty incredible internships overseas, and you're just studying and becoming quite the wine educator yourself.
Yes, I would like to hear more in the future, too. And shout out to my fellow Pennsylvania girl as well. So, yeah, because she's out there on the other side of the state. And then Sebastian, super sad to hear, but what an honor to have gotten to listen, learn, and contribute to Wine to Five. You guys are the best. Well, thank you, Sebastian. Are you guys drunk when you type these things? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, and then we have the side hustle wino, Kathy, who wrote to us and said, I am quite certain I cannot convey how devastating this news is to me. You ladies are tied to the beginning of my own wine journey. And although we haven't met, I feel as though we have. Please know I wish you nothing but the absolute best and continued success.
Oh, then you know what? And that's, we are glad that we connected with you guys, and we really don't want to devastate anyone because, we want to look forward, and it's just one of those things. So, Kathy, we will meet someday. I think you're going to Hunter Valley too, if I'm not mistaken. And remember, she was on the show too, so she contributed to this community.
That's right.
Yeah,
big contributor, and definitely, again, just to reinforce, we're still here. If anybody needs to reach out, we're still here.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, Sharon, she wanted to send a quick note of thanks just for being a huge help with her wine studies. And we appreciate that because that's really what we started out to do. She was introduced to the podcast from a friend and loved the camaraderie and knowledge that we imparted on you guys. So glad, again, were you guys drunk when you typed this? No, we're kidding. But she says, I would sit back after a page of notes and think how much behind the scenes work you both did to create each podcast. Kudos to you for making it through 200 podcasts. I thank you for making a difference and wish you both all the best in your new endeavors. Hugs for new adventures and a great glass of something you love. It's 5:00 somewhere. And we were fortunate enough to meet her back in August as well. So that was a lot of fun. And she was in my seminar too. She was so cute.
It was so cool. And we do have a little bit of an audio message that we're going to insert right here from our pals Chris and Janet here in Colorado.
Hey ladies, Janet and Chris here. Here's a big shout out to the two of you. What a wonderful run of incredible shows. You've taught us so many things, but most importantly, you made us laugh out loud.
It's a joy to smile at your words and antics while we picture your happy faces. You always make our mouths water over, and I quote, "What's in your glass today?" Here's to lots of somethings in all our glasses, hopefully together. You will be missed. All our love, Chris and Janet.
And I think that says it all. So we're going to do a toast now from us to all of you. To everyone who's been a part of this from the beginning, we will start by naming about 600 or so names. So here we go. No, not really. No, I'm not going to name them. But we do, there are just too many to name. But we do want to raise our glasses to everyone who's enabled, encouraged, supported, listened, and became part of this wonderful, wacky Wine to Five world. So
wear your Wine to Five t-shirts with pride and help Wine to Five live on forever. And keep on learning and celebrate hashtag It's Not 5 o'clock and we don't care on the regular. Experience hashtag W25 challenges with wild abandon.
And reach out, guys. Steph is still in the social spaces as the wine heroine. Val, that's me. I'm still Vito with Val, and most likely getting snarky on Twitter at WineGallonBox. That's usually where you can find me. Now, we invite you to sit back and please enjoy these never be heard, more champagne! These never before heard first attempts at recording the Wine to Five podcast, where it all started. So until we meet again, cheers! Indicates the progress of the recording.
When you hit it a second time now, okay, now it is.
We're recording.
It is
Mic
recording.
Is active. Okay.
Yes.
Just start chattering about our new Wine to Five podcast.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Wine to Five. Let's
Wine
have a
to
cheers.
Five. Yes. Hi.
Oh my gosh.
All right,
Finally. Thank you.
Who drinks at 11:30 in the morning? I'm like, well, I do, and so does most of Europe with lunch. I said, I'm not.
I do, Val.
I know, right? You can drink to that.
We're the extension.
I want to be Hoda.
I know.
Can I totally be Hoda?
Yeah, I'm gonna be Kathy Lee.
You can totally be Kathy Lee. I love Hoda, the Egyptian sun goddess. I think she is just fabulous.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, did I have a great wine and I didn't know it?
You know, all those wine blunders. I think we should have a whole episode. I think our next episode ought to be great wine blunders. Mm-hmm. And we can have people like write in and tell us, what was your great wine blender now that you kind of know. If we ever find out we actually have listeners, which would be really cool, and it starts taking off, we actually may have a website, you know, and that would be cool. And maybe even a Twitter account. You never know.
Yeah. Cheers to the hooch.
Cheers to the hooch, right? I mean, there was a time when that's what you can afford. You gotta drink what you can afford.
That's right.
We're not drinking 9 to 5, first of all. Let's just put that out there, because that's what our friends think we do, right? Do your friends think you drink all day?
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, she's a pharmacist, but she's day drunk. We're not day drunk. No, we're not drinking all day, but we do believe you should be able to drink any time of the day and not just when the clock strikes 5. I think Sauvignon Blanc pairs better with eggs than coffee.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
You know, or bubbles. We do believe that a glass in front of you should not be intimidating unless you're taking a blind tasting exam, which strikes fear into the bottom of my deep, dark, cold heart.
Yeah. Started with that 3 martini lunch. Like, you know what? That was popular way back when. And even though
martini lunch?
Yeah.
I was half in the bag after 1 martini last night.
I know. I mean, sometimes it's only half a martini.
But we didn't have
the size
lunch.
Of the glasses these days.
But we didn't have lunch.
No, we didn't even eat lunch.
No, we were went right to the martini bar. Well.
Right. So we don't recommend 3 martinis with lunch or a martini without lunch. But what we're saying is if you're going to have a martini, maybe have a little bit of food too.
All right, and we're back.
We're back. New batteries.
New batteries. So apparently we didn't bring the power cord with us, and we've already called to the front desk of this hotel once asking for cheese to go with our 6 bottles of wine, and now these chicks go down asking for batteries. So the front desk is really wondering what we're doing up here, but you know. But yet I can roll over to the pot store next door, and, you know, and get you know, I don't even know what they come in. I don't know my pot.
Imagine this.
We're gonna
marijuana in the grocery store before alcohol sold in the grocery store.
I would bet on it, and I bet
I would bet on it.
How do we get on pot? Oh, because we can't buy wine in a grocery store.
Oh, that's right.
Boy, can we get down a rabbit hole? You know, and I just think that's ridiculous that I have a Barolo
that saved your life.
I have a Barolo in my bag, and I'm not afraid to use it. And I was going to hit the guy over the head with the Barolo, and I'm like, don't make me use my Barolo, buddy, because I'm going to go home and drink this thing.
And then the guy says, so, I mean, like, she's from Somalia? And the guy goes, oh my God, you mean, do you mean that she's a sommelier? And the guy goes, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And it was so funny. So I'm finding out about this whole story. And my husband's like, you gotta listen to this story, Steph.
Oh, that is so funny.
He's like, people at the country club. At the country club. I mean,
where were you educated?
They think that a sommelier is from Somalia.
Oh, that is hilarious. Yeah. Asti's a region. It's not just Moscato.
Not just Asti's.
But in this country, no, you're not going to be carrying an open bottle of wine around in your bag. People have a problem with it, blah, blah, blah. But
you'll have to have a license for that.
You have to license for that, you know. But it could have saved my bacon.
Yes,
you know, if this guy had tried to attack,
maybe.
Kind of did.
there was a Bordeaux Hall. Well, we hadn't gotten to that class yet in Wines of the World.
Yeah.
What grapes are in this wine? And they looked at me like,
Yeah.
like, God, you're either drunk or stupid.
I know.
Cabernet Sauvignon?
Oh.
Merlot. You're amazing.
I just say I drink a lot.
You drink
a
lot.
I
And you
really
do.
do. I was just telling Val. I mean, on average, I have like 3 drinks a day.
For just an hour, I wasn't at work, peace and quiet,
Yeah.
where the phone wasn't ringing,
Yeah.
and life was just good.
Right. Right.
I'm crazy.
It's okay to bite off more than you can
Ooh,
chew.
no, I can chew it. I'm just talking with my mouth full a lot. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
But La Dolce Far Niente, the art of doing nothing.
Yeah.
The Italians excel at it.
Yeah. Have that glass of wine. You know,
Have it.
open that bottle.
Right.
And then you know what? You can have some tonight with dinner. You can have some tomorrow. You know, maybe you think, this is a good excuse for me to see if my neighbor wants to come over tomorrow and we'll finish this bottle off together.
Right.
That's what it's all about.